Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing something a little different than what we always do. I got a collection of warships over here that I would like to review. And these are the die-cast and plastic collection of warships. And these came from Amercom. Originally, these supposed to have magazines, but I only have just the models. Now I will be explaining about these three ships. Got the Yamato, got the HMS Hood, and I've got the Bismarck right at the back there that's still in the packaging right there. Okay, now got these models not recently. I got these models like a few years ago, just after COVID, and the first two ships that I got was these two, and then the most recent one about a couple of years ago I got the Bismarck. Now these two ships are actually repainted models that I did on my own, and unfortunately I was only able to take photographs for the HMS Hood rebuilding process, but the Yamato I skipped that, so I don't have any photographs to show you guys, but I will show you the rebuilding process, the repainting process for the HMS Hood right there later on in the video. Now, because the original model when I first got it, the paint job wasn't very good. Now, any of you diehard warship collectors out there who is interested in history, you know, who likes to collect these kind of little ships, these little metal warships, you would know that Amercom, these 1 in 1,000 scale models built by Amercom, they're not the best. I mean, as in terms of paint jobs or even the construction that they put into it, even the way they put the parts together, it's kind of all over the place, and there's a lot of super glue damage here and there. So these two ships, I had to literally repainted them. Took the parts off, sanded them down, the hull repainted, the deck, superstructure, everything, except for the stand. The stand is the one thing I left alone that's still original. Now the Bismarck that I have right back there in the packaging, now that is 100% original paint job direct from the factory. It's not been altered because that model looks okay to me, so I didn't have to alter it. The only thing I had to do is with these two. Now, for those of you who had the HMS Hood, you will probably know. Now, the deck color on the hood originally, it had a very yellowish tan color, so it just didn't look right. So I had to repaint it. Okay. So, now let's get on with the first model. So, first off, we have the Yamato right in front of here. This is one of the largest of the 1 in 1,000 scales. Now the stand is slightly tight. There we go. There's the stand. Now these Amercom models, they all have this little black color plastic stands, and they have this very shiny silver reflective stickers that's got the flag of origin of the country of origin, Navy flag, name of the ship, and the year it's from. So I repainted Yamato in its 1945 color scheme using the Curie Arsenal color, the Japanese Navy Curie Arsenal, the gray that they use on all Japanese battleships during that time, back in 1945. Of course, even the lower hull has been repainted. As you can see here, I use now I got the colors out, so I can show you the colors that I painted the models. So here we have Mr. Color Spray from Mr. Hobby. This one is color number 29. This is color number 29. This is hull red. This is exactly the color I use for the lower hull for Yamato, and it's the same color I also use on the HMS Hood. Now for the gray, the Imperial Japanese Navy gray, I use Tamiya TS66 here. Yeah, this is, yeah, number TS66, Imperial Japanese Navy Gray, Kure Arsenal. This is Yamato's paint scheme. Yep. And for the deck, Tamiya as well, Tamiya TS68 deck tan. The wooden deck tan, that's the color I use for all the deck colors for my ships. Now this is not the first time I built ships. I built ships before. And I've got a Fujimi. I've got two Fujimi Japanese models. One Yamato and the other one Akagi, which I have already built. And I will do a review on that later on. And I'll show you, even I took photographs of the build process, so I'll show that later. Okay, in a future video, sorry. All right, so as you can clearly see, this is the finished look of the ship after I painted. And of course, the black paint I used there is the Tamiya XF1 right here. This is the flat black acrylic paint. Yeah, Tamiya color, flat black acrylic color right here. This is the color I use for the funnel and the main mast right behind right there. So I just use a little small paintbrush and I just carefully paint right across all that. Let's just take a closer look at that right there. See, I did a very good job. Now this is a 1 in 1000 scale model, so it is actually very nice. It's a very good shape, and this is actually one of the largest 1 in 1000 scale ships that they've made. Now, what I actually did when I was repainting this model, when I originally got this, it was a horrible mess. The turrets was kind of bulging up, it was popping up, so, and the paint job was so messy. There's a lot of Q&C issues when I first got it, and the deck was not in the greatest of shapes, as you can see there. Unfortunately, when I repainted the ship, it's already got some of these little marks on the deck. So what I did, I mean, the only thing I could do, I can just sandpaper a little. Now, the one thing about Amercom, they didn't add, there's no lines that represent wood, teak. There's no lines in the deck that represent, supposed to look like wood. Yeah, so what they did, it's just a very clean plastic. It looks almost like armor. So it's like, it's supposed to be painted in gray, but it's not supposed to be because Yamato had a wooden teak deck. So only the front of the ship, the front of the bow here, is painted in the same dark gray color scheme, the same Kure Arsenal color. Okay. And the superstructure was also in a mess when I first got it. The bridge was actually popped out. It wasn't firmly secure in its place. Even the funnel as well. And the mast actually broke off at the base, so I was able to fix that. Yeah, when these Amercom models, I'm not sure about you guys, whether when you receive this in the mail, I mean, I've had, well, a broken mast, which I was able to fix. That's the one thing that popped off. And the one thing that also broke off in the mail when I first got this was the catapults. So both of the catapults at the back of the stern broke off. Even the only thing that didn't broke off, unfortunately, the only thing that didn't broke off was the flagstaff. So the flagstaff remained there, and the 4 propellers, one of the propeller shaft popped out, and the other 3 remained. So yeah. But it's got some good details there on the rudder, as you can clearly see there. It's got some lines there, just like on the actual ship. Now these Amercom ships, they have die-cast hull. The entire hull is die-cast, and it's got some very good weight to it. Only the top, the deck, the main deck, the superstructure, the guns are all plastic. So yeah. So I've done a very good job in fixing this, repainting and sanding down all the rough areas and all the super glue damage that was caused at the factory in China. I mean, whoever put these models together should really do a better job. I mean, they just simply just put stuff everywhere and they just don't glue them in place properly and they just slap right into the packaging. Even the packaging that I got was horribly, you know, it was all torn up. So, I mean, to be honest with you, when I first got it, it was like, it wasn't worth it. But in the end, I decided to do something about it. I had paints, I have all the equipment I need to do modeling. So I had the colors, which was left over from my Fujimi model kit builds. So what I did, I decided to, I had the light bulb just popped up on my head and I just realized, oh, why don't I fix it? All right, I'll fix it. You know, I had the colors, so straight away, I didn't hesitate and I straight away repainted this model kit. First color I did, of course, was I did the gray first, which was the first thing that I did. And after that, I sealed off the gray parts there and started working my way on the wooden deck. And then all those guns were later touched up using a small paintbrush. Now the turrets are spray painted, and then I sealed them up with tape to cover up all of them. Yeah, I use a lot of tape actually to cover up even the front of the ship there. These little details right there, I had to use some tape. If not, later on I'll just touch them up with a paintbrush, using the paintbrush and touch them up. So I did the best I could and restore the ship to how it's supposed to look, how Amercom's supposed to give us. So there you go. Now this one's easy. So the Japanese warships don't have a black waterline. Even those propellers have been repainted. They were kind of a dark brass color, so I gave them a little gold touch to it. And there's a little anchor right there. That's molded onto the hull. There is no openings right there like you expect them to. But on this model, everything is all sealed up. Now, there are no seaplanes, the Nakajima airplanes. They're not available with this model. All you get is the ship. The Japanese Navy flag on the stern, right there, was not originally on the flagstaff on the stern. It was originally placed up on the mainmast right there. But I decided to remove it and glue it at the back here instead of there. Originally, it came there. So I took it off and glue it right there. Okay. So what do you guys think? It's actually a nice looking ship. Did a really good job in fixing this model. All right. Well, let's just put this back on the stand and let's get on to the next ship. Okay. So the next one I did that I repainted was the HMS Hood. So we got the HMS Hood right here. Now, sorry, the HMS Hood, okay, the mast is a little, it's slightly loose right there. Looks like I'm gonna have to put a little dab of super glue just to secure that, but I'll do that later. So here's the HMS Hood. There's the stand that it came with. Now the stand is the same plastic display stand, but the label, the sticker that comes on the stand is slightly different here. It's like a satin matte, it's like a satin base sticker there. It has a reflective quality to it. It's got the Royal Navy flag there on the left side, HMS Hood, 1941. So this is supposed to represent Hood in 1941. Okay, so here's the hood. I've also repainted this model. When it originally came, the color was not the greatest. I think I'll show a picture of this model, the original look of this model. Got the image right up there. The image right up there, that represents the original look of the model. Now that's how I got it the first time. Then after that, when I opened up the box and I took a closer look at this, it just wasn't how, it didn't look right. So I decided to repaint it in the best ability I could. So here it is. Here is a little pictures that I took during the repainting process of HMS Hood. And here is the finished result of HMS Hood. Now the gray I use is not, as you can clearly see, the gray is, of course, is not the same gray as Yamato. Of course, that's Curie Arsenal gray. Now the paint I use for HMS Hood, if I'm not mistaken, I think I use neutral gray. Yeah, this one, the Tamiya color. I know this is an aircraft color paint, but it is still a very nice color I use, and I use this as the color for the hood. AS7 neutral gray, United States Air Force. So this is the color I used. And for the deck, I use the same TS68 right here, Tamiya wooden deck tan color, and black for the funnel tops, including the mast, XF1, Tamiya XF1, flat black. Yep. So these are the three colors that I used. Very straightforward. I didn't add too much color to this, because since it's a very small model, all the small tiny little, like the boats, I decided to leave those out. So I just paint the ship in the regular color. Now I know there's supposed to be extra colors at the front here. I'm not really sure whether it's supposed to be a brown or something right here. About half of the secondary deck right up there is supposed to be a different color there. I'm not really sure. So that's why I decided to just do just one basic color. And then the deck. The propellers have been repainted as well. I use brass. Yeah, this is a slightly different color I use. I think this one is the Tamiya. Yeah, I use Tamiya copper. Yeah, I use copper for this one. This is the Tamiya XF6, which is copper. This is the color that I use for the propellers. I'm sure you can see it right there. Yeah, I was just trying to clear up. Okay. So, what do you guys think? Now, the size of the hood is equivalent to the Yamato. Both ships are pretty much roughly, yeah, both ships are roughly the same. Yeah, both ships are probably roughly the same size. Well, according to my eyesight here, it looks like hood is slightly longer. Hood is actually slightly longer than Yamato. Is that true? Is hood supposed to be longer than Yamato? I don't think so. But I know it is the longest ship in the world at the time. I mean, when it was built back at the First World War. Now I managed to put a little dab of super glue right on that mast right there that was wonking away, and it suddenly broke off. So I glued it back. Now it's okay. All right. Now you can clearly tell there's the Royal Navy flag at the back there. Originally, it was right up on that mast right there when I first got it, and I took it off, and I think it's better suited to be at the stern section right there. Even when I first got this model, the proportions of the guns, everything was all in the wrong it was all in the wrong position. It was sticking out of its port. It wasn't firmly glued down. Yeah, it wasn't firmly put in place. Even these little derricks right here, they're not, they're not firmly put in the right place. They were all kind of all over the place, and one was breaking off and all that. Luckily I was able to fix all that. Okay, even the fire control at the top of the bridge right there on the tripod tower. That part right up there was actually backwards. This part was facing that way. So it was the wrong position. So what I did, because I remember what hood looked like. I've seen pictures of it in books. So what I did, I just rotate, switch, turn the bridge, turn that part back to the right position. So it looks like that. So that's actually the right way. So die-cast hull as usual. Okay, and the rest of the superstructures, the deck, the guns, they're all plastic. Right. Now, let's put this model back on the stand. And now we're gonna have a look at the Bismarck. That's the last ship of the day before we end the video. Okay, let's just put the hood right over there. Right, so here's the Bismarck. Now this is what the packaging originally looks like from Amercom. They all come in this clear plastic opening packaging so you can actually look right through. You see the ship, then you got the stand right up here. And then you got a little silver bar right here that has got the Navy flag from the country, the name of the ship, and the year that the ship was from. You know, the color scheme that it was painted in. 1 in 1,000 scale. Okay. And then the top of the box, we've got Warships of World War II collection. Okay. And then the back of the box, same thing, Warships of World War II collection. And then we've got like 6 ships right here, which you can collect in the collection. You got Yamato, you got the Hood, Prince of Wales, Scharnhorst, Graf Spee, and Prince Eugen. Now, I've only got these 2, which I've already showed you earlier, and I've actually repainted these 2 ships. And the rest, I didn't actually got those. Well, these were not available. I saw Prince of Wales, but I was gonna get it, but maybe next time. Maybe next time I'll get the Prince of Wales. Okay, now, moving on. This is the Bismarck from 1941 with her camouflage pattern, the very famous black and white, sort of a camouflage. I'm not sure what type of camouflage it's called. Okay, so let's just take this model out of the box. Okay. Okay. Now the packaging is actually very good for Amercom. These clear plastic packaging, they're very solid. But when I first got my model for the Yamato and the hood, there's a lot of parts that actually broke. You know, all the small parts like the mast, you know, the catapults, even the propeller shafts, they also broke off. So expect these small little things when you receive such ships like this in the package through the mail. Now, let's slowly take the ship out. Okay. Now this is a lovely painted model. Now this one I have not altered. Ever since I got this model, I have not altered the look or repainted this. So this is actually one of the nicest looking ones. I painted those 2 because, like I said before, it was in rough condition. Right. Let's just put this out of the way. Now, there's the stand. It's that silver reflective stand. The sticker. Okay, Bismarck 1941. We've got the German Kriegsmarine Navy flag. Okay, let's just put the stand on one side. Now let's take a closer look at Bismarck. All right. Like I said, this is what Bismarck. This is the model originally painted from the factory in China. The reason why I didn't repaint this, because it looks actually okay. It looks okay to me, even though there are some mistakes here and there, which I will note in a few minutes. But this is what the ship originally looked like when she appeared in that time in 1941, in May 1941. But when she engaged, I'm not really sure whether she carried this color at the time when she engaged the hood, because Bismarck was actually repainted a few times in May of 1941, just before she was sunk in, just before she sinks in 27th of May, before 27th of May. So she carried a few color schemes, especially her camouflage was repainted over and over. Now, okay, there's a little scratch right there, the paint on the dark gray pattern at the front there. So that was originally there when I got it, so there was a slight QC issue, a slight quality control issue there. The propellers are nicely done. Yeah, the propellers are nicely done. It's painted in that brass color. Okay. Okay, we've got some white for the wave colors right there. There's one of the camouflage patterns that they painted. Just right there, there's one. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's supposed to be painted right up to the gray. Now, that's the one thing that they completely missed out. Okay, all right. It's a nice ship, great model. Now, as you can clearly tell, the hull, the color of the hull is it's a more of a satin. It looks very shiny color rather than matte. So it's like satin. I believe this is satin color. But this is the color that they use to paint the models. So some parts of the model is matte, like the dark gray on the stern and on the bow is actually matte paint. And the color on the top deck is all matte, including the superstructure. So this is the gray that Bismarck originally had. So this is the gray. I mean, I don't have another gray that looks like this gray, so that's why I decided to leave this one alone. Plus this one has got lots of very nice little paint applications that was added on, which I can't replicate. I could do it, but it will take time. Plus the reason why I didn't want to repaint this, because it's just so much good stuff already done right here, and it's actually not too bad. I got it like this. I mean, there is nothing altered. I haven't changed anything here. I didn't fix anything here. It came like this. So this is actually one of the nicest model that I received, from Amercom. Amercom actually did a really good job. I mean, whoever assembled this model in China did an exceptional job. There are some slight QC issues here and there, like okay, the gun director, the forward gun director is wonky. I mean, I tried to fix that, but I didn't want to risk breaking these side antennas off. The gun director, these side pieces, I didn't want to break that because these are actually very fragile plastic, so I didn't want to turn that. As you can clearly tell, it's completely flushed. If you take a closer look there, it's flushed. It's already glued down, flushed all the way into that conning tower right there. Yeah, that armored conning tower right there. That is, I mean, the gun director is glued in, flushed all the way. Same as for the Admiral's Bridge. The Admiral's Bridge is the same. There are some parts. One thing I did notice when I got this, it came with a little broken part right there. One of these. Now, it is present on one side there. That one's not broken, but the other side is broken off. Yeah, so I couldn't find the broken part in the packaging. Apparently, it's already gone, which is very unfortunate. If I could find it, if I found it, I would have glued it back, but since it's missing, so oh well. A lot of nice boats. All the lifeboats are painted in. There's a lot of nice gray there. I mean, sorry, brown painted in. There's a little boat there as well. Secondary guns are nicely done. There's your Arado seaplane. At least this model came with an airplane. There's an Arado that you can clearly see. There's an Arado seaplane right there. And it's got the German logo. for the seaplane right there, and even the seaplane's got a propeller. There is a tree blade propeller right there. It's painted green. And the German Kriegsmarine flag is, as you can clearly tell, that is what it originally came. The flags are wrapped around the mast like that. That's how it came originally with all these Amercom ships. It's the same thing with the hood and the Yamato when I first got them. The flag was originally wrapped to the mast. Now I didn't want to take it off or try to alter anything, so I decided to leave it as exactly as it is so I could show you guys how this originally came. It's got lots of nice painted details on this. That's why I decided not to touch it or redo it. As you can see, there's a deck painted detail on the upper superstructure right there. Even the secondary deck is painted with that deck color. There's a slight deck color right there on the rear superstructure, so that's why I decided to leave it alone. And the one thing that I could not replicate if I do repaint this is that swastika at the front and the stern of the ship. That is the one thing which I can't replicate. So there you go, guys. It is a lovely model. Got a die-cast hull, plastic superstructure and decks. It is a very nice little ship. This is the 1 in 1,000 scale. It's a great warship collection. I recommend you guys, if you are into history, especially World War II warships, these are the best. I've actually had liking for warships since when I was a kid. I've read documentaries. I've seen documentaries for the Bismarck, especially James Cameron's expedition and Robert Ballard's expedition in 1989. I've actually watched those, and they're actually what got me into history and actually having a love for warships, especially World War II warships, battleships especially. And Bismarck was actually my second favorite battleship. My very favorite was the Arizona, the USS Arizona from Pearl Harbor. Yeah, that was my all-time favorite ships. And Bismarck was my second favorite. Just love the lines, just love the way the ship looks. It is actually a very beautiful looking battleship. Now compared with the hood, it is roughly, now these ships are actually to scale with one another. So if we take the hood, now the hood is supposed to be longer than the Bismarck, which it is. If you take a closer look there, okay, I'm being very careful here, I don't want to break the mass off. Now the hood is actually slightly longer. Yeah, the hood is slightly longer than the Bismarck. The Bismarck is roughly 800 feet. It's about 800 feet. Yeah, she was about an 800 feet long ship. So the hood was just slightly longer than the Bismarck. 800 feet and more. Okay, just carefully set the ship down. Okay guys, hope you liked today's video on these 3 ships. And I'll see you guys again next time. If I got more ships to review, I'll let you know when I got one. Alright. So, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys again next time. Cheers guys. Have a great day ahead.